Antonio Vivaldi. Born in Venice, Italy, 1678. Died in Vienna, Austria, 1741. Venice in the 17th century, a magical place where street walkers had to learn how to swim. An enchanting place where everyone had to learn how to sing. A bewitching place where everyone dressed up in idiotic costumes and partied for 6 months. The gondoliers would pass their haunting melodies to the merchants as they drifted by the markets. The merchants would continue the tune as stonemasons provided the foundation and barbers the close harmonies. This was Venice, as Antonio Vivaldi knew it. Antonio's dad was a barber who taught his son how to play the violin. His big hope was for the boy to grow up and write an opera called The Barber of Venice. But that idea turned out to be just another follicle. Instead, Vivaldi entered the priesthood at St. Mark's. This was an unusual place in that the names of musicians associated there usually ended with I. Gabrieli, Monteverdi, Corelli, Torelli, Vivaldi, etc. Flushed with pride, Mr. Vivaldi witnessed his son's ordination 10 years later in 1703. That same year, Antonio was hired to teach the violin at a girls' orphanage. This was no ordinary orphanage, however. It was more like a finishing school. The Seminario Musicale dell'Ospedale della Pieta had within its walls hundreds of budding young women, many of them very musically gifted. It almost seems a cruel irony that the talented 25-year-old red-headed Vivaldi should immediately enter the seminario from the seminary. But here, he remained for the next 40 years. Several of the girls were part of the Hieta Orchestra and played many different instruments. Apart from the stringed instruments, there were flutes, bassoons, trumpets, mandolins, salmos, theorbos, and clarinet, the latter having just been invented. Vivaldi had been thrust into a position that enabled him to experiment endlessly, trying out different combinations of girls each week without ever exhausting the possibilities. Tourists came from all over Europe to visit the Pieta and watch the girls play. Some even listened to the music. The former were disappointed when they found the concerts actually took place behind a screen. Nobility were allowed to meet the girls after these concerts, which resulted in some of these orphans marrying into wealthy families. Only in Venice did it pay to be an abandoned child. It also paid to be a young, practicing string player in Venice. The city was known for its fine, affordable violin makers, which meant it was possible to obtain for these girls of various Stradivarius. Vivaldi was a master of regurgitation, musically speaking. When all was said and done, Vivaldi had written over 450 concertos for his students. These concerti culminated into a really famous one, The Four Seasons, each season having been heard at least 100 times before. But the effort had been worth it. The Four Seasons went on to influence Joseph Haydn and his oratorio, The Seasons with Evocative Results. It also influenced P.D.Q. Bach's The Seasonings, which provoked insults. Vivaldi needed a break. He tootled around Italy and France, writing operas here and there, all the while traveling with the singer Anna Giraud. But in 1738, the Cardinal of Ferrara wouldn't let Vivaldi back into Venice. The idea of a non-practicing priest gallivanting round the countryside with a beautiful opera singer listening to his creations was reprehensible to the Cardinal, if not downright enviable. Vivaldi was finally allowed back into Venice. The people there loved his music, but didn't particularly like him after all. He was still just a barber's son. Even with his prodigious gifts, the people couldn't get past their prejudice of class. The inability to see past their own noses is what made a Venetian blind. After his death, much of Vivaldi's music was lost for 200 years. Its recovery in the 1920s has made Suzuki method people all over the world forever grateful.